and welcome to another book versus film video. This one, I wasn't sure I was going to make a video for this one, but I asked out on Instagram and you all voted yes, so here is my Peter Rabbit book versus movie video. I went to see Peter Rabbit at the movies last week and I loved it so much more than I was expecting to. The guy that sold me the ticket said, oh, I think you're going to really enjoy this one. Although it's a kids film, there's humour for the adults in there, and he was absolutely right. So in my screenshot there I had Tales from Beatrix Potter. I have always been a Beatrix Potter fan, and so I was excited when I heard that they were making a Peter Rabbit film. I wasn't sure what it was going to be like because it looked like the mixture of like live action and animation, whereas I'd seen the ones that they did at Christmas time years ago that were animated. I wasn't terribly impressed with those ones, although it did use original drawings from Beatrix Potter. But the first thing that I loved that I noticed in the film was the female lead in the film is called Bee, and I was like, that is such a lovely nod to Beatrix Potter. I love the fact that we've got this character called Bee, and it's not explicitly, she's not called Beatrix, she's not got the surname Potter, but she's called Bee. I thought that was really lovely. The film itself takes place in the Lake District, which is where Beatrix Potter is from and where her like designs and things are all inspired. You can see various shots of the Lake District in her drawings in the background, the walls and the houses in particular. You see a lot of it in Mrs. Tiggywinkle when she goes running over the hills, which is fantastic. Speaking of Mrs. Tiggywinkle, although this film is called Peter Rabbit, the other Beatrix Potter characters do feature in there, and Mrs. Tiggywinkle features quite heavily, which I was a massive fan of. As soon as I saw this hedgehog come on the screen, I was like, it's Mrs. Tiggywinkle. And it was okay because I was in a cinema with just loads of kids around me, so I could be excited and nobody was judging me. I was excited by the fact that we see shots of the Lake District in this film, and then when Mrs. Tiggywinkle came on and then continued to feature heavily, I loved that. The film itself isn't just based on the story of Peter Rabbit that we have that Beatrix Potter wrote. It is almost like a kind of what happens next. So there are some aspects of the story in the film, there's some similarities, but it kind of continues on almost where the story left off. So we have Mr. McGregor in there, but then some of the film features not the original Mr. McGregor, but Mr. McGregor's nephew, who I thought was really good, even though I'm used to seeing him as General Hux in the Star Wars films. I thought he did a good job of playing this comedy role, and I like the fact that it doesn't kind of take the story and just tell the original story of Peter Rabbit. It takes it a bit further and it takes it a bit wider and a bit deeper, and I liked that aspect of it too. If you have read all the Beatrix Potter books, as I say, you will recognise a lot of the characters in there. A lot of the characters feature in there, and I think they did a really good job of doing the mixture of live action and animation, because obviously the rabbits are animated. Peter Rabbit is voiced by James Corden, which is interesting because obviously it's set in the Lake District, and there was I don't know, aside from perhaps Mrs. Tiggywinkle, I don't know that there were many characters who had a kind of Cumbrian accent, which I was a little bit disappointed in. But then I saw this film in Denver, Colorado. It may be that they have different accents in the film here than they do in the film in the UK. I don't know if you've seen the film in the UK, let me know in the comments, because in particular there's a scene where he goes into Windermere and goes to a hardware shop in Windermere, and both of the guys serving have these Cockney accents, and I was like, okay, I can, you know, people move here from all over the place, but I don't know, they seem to be locals, and yeah, they didn't have a Cumbrian accent, which I was a bit like, but then maybe their accent is dubbed. I don't know. If you've seen it in the UK, let me know. But yeah, I think they did a really good job. There were beautiful shots of the Lake District, and there were shots particularly of Windermere and Ambleside. The station that they use is not Windermere Station. It doesn't look like Windermere Station, which I thought was a bit odd because Windermere Station's quite nice. But the shots that they use are kind of like an original station. I think it may have been a set. But yeah, the shots of the Lake District are lovely. Peter Rabbit himself was charming, and the human characters in the film were interesting and definitely did have a role to play, even though it should be just about a rabbit. But yeah, I think they did a good job because they didn't stick to the story and they took it off in a kind of what happens next, and as I say, went a little bit deeper into, you know, what might happen to keep Peter out of Mr. McGregor's garden and how he might react and how the other animals might react. And I love the fact that it is Mrs. Tiggy Winkle heavy as well. So yeah, it's a definite thumbs up from me in terms of the film. As I say, in terms of being the same as the book, it is not the same as the book. It carries on where the book's left off, kind of almost starts in the middle. And I thought the narration was really good as well. It's Margot Robbie that does the narration, and I thought she did a really good job. So yeah, as I say, let me know in comments if you've seen this and there was a difference in the accents at all. I had very much like a sort of London accent going on, but yeah, if you had Cumbrian accents in your film, tell me in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed to see more Book versus Movie. I've got more coming up. Thank you for watching. Bye.